Welcome to Metatripping. Peace. I know this is posting quite a bit later than I anticipated on YouTube. Um, you can check over on Anchor like anytime. That's where like a lot of readings are probably going to go first because the upload process is just so easy. And if I'm working on a lot of things or if I'm calibrating energy like I'm doing right now, um, it's a more easeful process. I do, kind of going through how things are going to be formulating for both platforms moving forward. It is in the should I use the word plan? I feel like I shouldn't even use the word use the word plan. Um, but really, I'm thinking there will be more energy transmissions. Um, that are assisting in the 2020 process, more how-to videos and that kind of thing as well. Of course, the monthly. I'm definitely going to keep the monthly. Pick a cards. There may be some pick a cards here as they come through, but they're probably going to more so be on the Anchor platform, and that's where the Starcestries are. And I just had like the trippiest calibration experience, so I'm not going to keep this intro very long so that I can let this energy do what it do. But in one of the Starcestry readings, and this is like one of the ways that I've been able to find out more what aspects of my Starcestry are activating or expanding or what have you at any given time, according to what comes through the channels. You know what I'm saying? Because they're channels, so it's not like I'm memorizing this information. When I go back and I listen, it's something that was channeled. You know what I mean? And I find that it affects me. You know what I'm saying? Like, it affects me in a certain kind of way. You know what I'm saying? To go back and listen to it later. But it was like some of what came through, I was like, really? Like, there were definitely some star systems that are having some out there in a good way activations. And what spirit was saying to expect, I didn't think it was going to happen to me. You know what I'm saying? Just because like I've been doing work for a long time and I didn't think it was going to manifest that way for me in particular. I thought I was just channeling, some of those things that was coming through, it was for y'all. But like then there was like one of the Starcestries that came through, it was talking about with the activations and whatnot that are happening to not freak out when there's numbness. And I'm feeling like this numbness thing happening right now, like in my fingers. I think it said hands in the channel, but that is part of the hands. And if it had not been channeled, I would have been freaking out thinking there might be something wrong on a physical level. So I want to experience this. This is a very short intro, which is good because the reading that came through for the monthly that posted on Anchor, it was like the night, I think, of the first, you know what I'm saying? So it was like right there at the line of December 2nd. It is rather lengthy, but there's a lot of good information. And I actually pulled additional cards for the signs, you know what I'm saying? As opposed to just, kind of going in and reading from like the elemental focus and then just reading from that same card for the signs. I ended up pulling additional cards, and there was a lot of solid information that came through that can help y'all for when you're dealing with patches of density and when you're expanding and that sort of thing. And those of you who do, identify as star seeds, or whether you want to use that label or not, it's, if you have been tuning into Starcestries and you're realizing that, you know what I'm saying, like you have star ancestry, if you will, the Starcestries, you know what I'm saying, post at Anchor first, and the longer ones just post there. I'm probably going to be doing like mid-month updates and that sort of thing that end up on YouTube, but just YouTube's process and like the length limitations and that kind of thing, it ends up being like a lot of work. You know what I'm saying? Like unnecessarily with editing and that sort of thing. And I don't really have to go through those changes for Anchor. I don't have to go through like editing to make things fit or deal with, you know what I'm saying? Like, algorithm changes and things of that nature in the same way as with YouTube. So it's just far less of a headache than I think what YouTube presents to people that want to upload to the platform. Back in the day, YouTube, you know what I'm saying? Like, I was a YouTube like user, but I had a YouTube page. Like, there was just a lot more that was offered. Like, you were able to have a page at one point. You know what I'm saying? You could have your little widgets on the page and that kind of thing. Just as someone who comes in and listens to other people, but you could still have your member page. It was just a more Aquarian, more enjoyable experience. You know what I mean? I'm not really feeling it how they've got it right now. I'm not feeling all the restrictions and kind of the corporatized, you know what I'm saying, way that they've got things going. So I do, I'm feeling the other one more. So I'm flowing. I'm going with the path of least resistance and really what flows right. And I do suggest y'all do as well in any area of life moving forward, because that's really what these 2020 waves are all about. Just to not get caught up in the patches of like resistance and, kind of controller run, you know what I'm saying, type anything. You know what I mean? Like, just get into the Aquarian wave. That's what the 4 is for the 2020 regardless. The 4 is an Aquarian number. So, you know what I'm saying? That, like, go with that wave. Saturn's about to be in that sign soon enough. You know what I'm saying? For a little while and moving towards the spring this year. Then it'll go back to finish out the Capricorn transit, and that's going to be Saturn and Aquarius all day long. You know what I'm saying? For its transit for a while. Which is very good news. All right, y'all. So I hope that you enjoy the reading, and I thank you for tuning in. You are appreciated. And any feedback, questions, anything like that, you can leave in the comments, or you can email me directly, or you can also on Anchor interact. They let you record, and I have the option to incorporate some of those recordings. Like, I could respond to the recording and incorporate it into, like, some of the broadcasts. So there is that. And if you can listen without being a monthly pledge. But if you are a monthly pledge, I'm also offering, if you want like a reading, you can record your question, or you can email me. It's I'm on Gmail. It's the same username, Metatripping. Where I can include it in the broadcast. You know what I'm saying? Address questions from monthly pledges who are providing like that channel fairy support, which it is really like heartening, and I really really do appreciate it, because there is a lot of time that goes into this. There are a lot of hours that go into this reading energy and channeling, and it really means a lot. All right, y'all, and I appreciate all y'all regardless. You know what I'm saying, for tuning in and giving feedback and responding, and giving a like with a thank you and that kind of thing. It's really considerate, and it does mean a lot to me on this end, just so you know. It's not taken for granted. All right, so I hope your 2020 has been blissful so far. I have dealt with some, even though the miracle, it came through, the miracle focus, I didn't know how it was going to manifest, and I've dealt with some unexpected miracles that I'm still, I think, like, the levels that had to go through a lot of hardship last year, I'm still calibrating to it, and I'm trying not to over-intellectualize it and just embrace and accept the good. You know what I mean? It really has been beautiful on this end, and I'm learning how to accept that. And I think that really, like, that's a lot of our story. Like, just learn how to accept the good, and more is going to come. You know what I'm saying? All right. Thank you so much for tuning in. I don't know if I said that 3 or 4 times already, but I am something's going on with my energy right now, some type of activation or expansion, and I'm going to go and focus on that. But I wanted to make sure there was an intro so that I can edit the intro and the reading portion, because there was actually a longer intro. If you want to hear the full monthly, just go to Anchor and just listen to the full monthly with the intro and everything. But if you just want the reading portion, then stay tuned. And you can check the timestamps as well for where the elements fall with the different focuses. All right? Peace. Let's kick it off. The air element and air signs are going to be dealing with 10D energy in January, and it's a beautiful, beautiful thought wave. So the thought forms that can come out of the thoughts that you think when you're engaging on this level can lead to some extra sacred places on a dream level, because this is the Live Your Dreams card. Sacred Dreamer is a subtext, so we're talking about sacred dreams, sacred dreaming. Very, very important. So those who are in the sign of Libra, it starts off, my bad. The first sign is Gemini. which represents the two hemispheres of the brain, as it were. The twin hemispheres, which are really one, two sides of the same coin, if you will. A manifestation of duality, when really there's just oneness. So, Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius are the air signs. Go ahead and tap into the energies here. Alright, so what I'm getting here is there are a lot of manifestations coming up from the astral. So, to be real, lower and higher light, but a lot of what's popping up that's lower is they're like phantoms, you know what I'm saying? And they're still tenacious. There's still, some of this can be these puppet stringed people who are little mini controllers trying to control your life, trying to control you or possess you. But the whole point is to keep your thoughts focused. Remember, the third eye is a big deal, and it's becoming ever clearer as more readings are being done in these 2020 waves. What this is about, all right? So it's coming through spirit that citrine is like a key stone this month to be working with, so that you can keep your solar plexus chakra energies as clear as possible. You do want to be in your fluidity is what's coming through spirit. But you want to be able to have enough vitality to move through the astral. With sovereignty. Okay, so move through the astral, and navigate is another word that Spirit was giving me, through the astral with sovereignty. All right, that is a big, huge deal. Big, huge deal. Right? So remember, this is a 10D card. It's image, ordain. It's very yang and yin, but the zero, clearly a 0 point type of reference. But it's at the top of the 0 point is what Spirit is talking about. So moving out of 0 point into a dream level of the astral. So that your manifestations can take root in higher timelines. Gems, y'all. Gems. All right. So I'm going to go ahead, see if there's anything. Yeah, I mean, I am getting, there can be attempts at confusion, attempts at delusion. There can be, okay, so Spirit is saying there absolutely can be, dream attacks. I don't like to say these things, but I'm just going to keep it real. That try to bring your focus backwards, in some cases way backwards. You understand what I'm saying? Because if that's all that is at the disposal of these puppeteers, then they're going to try it. They're going to try it. They're hungry. They don't have life force to feed off of. They're just vampires, right? So when you wake up in the morning, in addition, utilize your dream catchers. You have a clear sleeping area, moonstone around your sleeping area. That was having a clear sleeping area was a big thing that came up for Vedic star systems, in some of the Vedic star system readings. And going to sleep with moonstone and other protective stones can help to keep your sleeping area in a certain place. Also, you can record affirmations, and I would highly recommend affirmations like I am a sacred dreamer. You understand what I'm saying? I am a sacred dreamer. I ascend to higher and higher levels of the astral. I ascend to paradise consciousness. Things of that nature. Because, and it did come through the 2020 prep reading, what you dictate, what you speak into the ether, where your thoughts are focused is literally where you're going to go. You're learning how to manifest on some very sublime levels. You understand what I'm saying? In actual kind of time construct situations. So there's a lot of power in that if you sit back and think about that. These are the types of lessons that we're learning through this ascension process that really become, and Spirit's confirming is correct, a part of the DNA. So the work that you're doing, Spirit is saying to replace the old timelines in your DNA. That's so profound. And this makes sense. We're clearing out the old generational disempowerment trauma scripts, right? And we're replacing them with sacred dreamer scripts. And Spirit's pretty much, okay, yeah. All right, y'all. I'm going to go into the signs.
And if I do an extended reading or what have you, you can check Anchor FM, Metatripping on Anchor FM for that. But here for the for Geminis, I think a lot of y'all have found yourselves in polarized situations. The way the energy is coming through, where it's like you got to make a choice. Like you got to make a choice, and you know you have to make a choice. You know, some of it it's riled you. It's brought up so much of that primal wave energy in you that, like, you have to make a move. Really avoid allowing fear to kind of talk you or bait you back into a certain position, because it looks like you're already a part of the way out of the situation, because in your consciousness, like, you're over it. You really and truly are over those whatever disempowerment situations that you're dealing with on a manifestation level on the mundane. And it doesn't look like you have a whole lot of soul searching that you feel like you need to do. Like, there's a certainty there, which is amazing. That means you're coming closer to bringing your right and left brain hemisphere into alignment and moving out of your yin space, whatever has been attempting to possess or hold positions in your yin space when it does not belong there. All right, y'all. Let me see what else is coming up. Ignore any this is for those it applies to. Ignore any financial situations where you feel like people are giving you crumbs. It's a trick that's being used. Like, remember, anyone, you know what I'm saying, who is in a disempowerment type of wave and is operating out of a trauma script, they could have been triggered earlier that day. Could be the nicest people in the world. And if they were triggered during that day and there are still some things that they need to work on, they can be taken over a little bit to mess with you. You know what I'm saying? If they're who you're going to come into contact with next. It's just what it is. I definitely, if you've been listening for a while, I like to steer clear of anything that is along the lines of paranoia. But when it comes through series like this, then I say it like it is. Avoid looking down. Looking downward at yourself, looking down in shame, looking down with, oh, well, it must be something wrong with me. Really avoid that. You know what I'm saying? Your best, I'm going to draw a card. All right. Your best approach for this situation is to go with what motivates you. You know what I'm saying? In your financial situations, even if you think you may have possibly, for any of you this applies to, may have possibly missed the boat on something. Power Spark is what came up. It's 3D based. This is really it's a fight for sovereignty over your solar plexus chakra, which is typically where anything that's trying to be vampiric or juicy for energy attacks or latches tentacles or cords or whatever you prefer to use as terminology to you. So if you're a little bit pissed off, it's really okay. Watch how you use that energy, though. Use that energy. Be like, you know what? Like, this is trife. I'm now giving you my 2 weeks or 1 week notice. Whatever you feel is real. If it's a really abusive workplace situation or someone you've been working with as a partner, you can just check it. Okay, I'm sorry. It's okay. So Spirit is saying it's advisable to try to maintain your character. I mean, to try to maintain your integrity, right? But I say if it's an abusive situation, you can just get up out of it. You know what I'm saying? But Spirit is counseling. Some of you do need to move wisely. If you found yourself in situations where you're a little bit tied to something, whether it's with a roommate who only gave you a portion of the rent this month, and you know what I'm saying. Whatever it's connected to, where someone's really playing with the distribution of funds. All right, utilize what comes up on a motivation level in your chakra, where you're like, you know what, there is another opportunity that I heard about that was mentioned, and that's what I'm moving towards. Spirit is confirming that's correct. Like, move towards that. Move towards what's motivating you. And Spirit is saying that's where you'll be supported. So what you're actually motivated to do on a high frequency level, or a higher frequency level, Spirit's saying correct, that's where you're going to be supported. And Spirit is also saying that's where there's going to be angelic support. Actionable angelic support. You understand? People who will take time with you if you need time to be taken with you. People who will be gentle. and guide you. And because some of this, some of us are still dealing with that vulnerability on an inner child level. And remember, this is eclipse season. Those things that have to go, they have to go. They got to go, y'all. Period. And it really comes to it's coming down to, like, for Geminis, it's like a clear situation. All right, so I'm going to move on. Moving on to, let me see if there's anything else actually for Geminis. Believe in yourself. Believe in yourself, and making those moves that are in alignment with your self-belief of what you can handle. You're going to feel so motivated, like so, and calm. Like, it does seem like, you're, at least by mid-month, you'll find yourself in situations where it's just, the waters are much different. What's coming to you is much different. The flow, the pace, no more anxiety, fading anxiety, where you can actually enjoy, like, some peace of mind, and your inner child can come forward to the table, and you can see really the limitless of possibility, and that you are worthy of having more. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, Spirit's saying I'm pretty much covering it. I may do an extended for Anchor FM, because, time constraints and whatnot. I'm trying to keep it within it looks like it's 36 minutes, and it's already going to be a certain length, but I mean, there's tons of information. I mean, for 2020, y'all, I really want to be able to give as much information as possible. Moving on to Libras. All right, Libras are balancers, are holders of the scales. Let's see what's going on, or actually just represented as the scales in this iteration of the Western Zodiac construct. Okay, hemming and hawing, Libras. Now, we know this is something that can come up as a tendency for Libras. Like, I'm not sure, maybe I shouldn't, or maybe I should try something different, or hemming and hawing. I don't know, I'm picking those energies up. Just a moment. You are capable. Some of you are being held in situations, it almost feels like a holding pattern, where something's trying to put you in a holding pattern of indecision, straight up, like an astral opponent, or an opponent. Could be a physical person, but if there's an astral opponent type of situation, astral opposition situation going on there. I'm getting this, in the hemming and hawing and trying to make decisions, but I'm better than this. And it's like a small, quiet voice is the way it's coming through to me. You are. You are. Something's trying to hold you in a position. Now, when this happens, that could be because something's trying to sabotage your roads, trying to sabotage opportunities that might be available to you. So while you're sitting there being held up by something that does not belong in your experience, something else that is for you could be sailing on by that really would have taken you really high up in your higher timelines. So let that small still voice within, let it have the megaphone. Let it have the megaphone. You are better than this. Just a moment. You are capable is what came up with fortitude as the subtext. Just a moment. It's an 8D card of self-mastery. Some of you, there's such a humble energy and such an uncertainty feeling, I think, that some of y'all will be facing this month. And such humility that I'm seeing coming out from the levels of you that you're dealing with. Like, probably the divine feminine aspects of you and your some of your inner child levels. Any aspects of you that believe like you're not going to be treated well or treated fairly. Remember, y'all deal with the scales of balance and justice. So, focusing on what is justified in a certain situation, Spirit is confirming that's correct, can help you to get to clarity faster. And some of you might have to do some extra work of like researching and figuring out where you're going to go and what you're going to do for your reorganization towards your higher timelines. You understand what I'm saying? But it's something that's in your ear or in your face or attempting to be, where it's just a whole bunch of, you know what I'm saying? Like, like noise, and it just doesn't feel right, and it's confusion. It's really just something that's trying to play you. Um, you know, get in your spirit's confirming is correct. Get in your justice mode. Work with citrine, spirit is saying, for your solar plexus chakra. And it's going to help to put you in alignment with the fortitude part of you that's like, I know how to move. I know I can move forward at minimal. And also, I know how to move forward, where you'll go out there and you'll ask questions. So it's like, it's really you tipping the scales to the other side of the polarity, where you're not in an uncertainty, but where you're in a certainty that even if I don't know exactly how this is going to manifest, I have the certainty that I can get through it. And that level of certainty is going to bring you in alignment with those things that reflect that inner certainty of your fortitude and your strength and your ability to get where you're going. And I do think there's a little bit of playing with you going on. You know what I'm saying? Because, just the construct, that construct sign has it's got associations. It's got certain associations in Gnosticism and the Kabbalah and what have you, that are pretty potent when it comes to having a transition from one level of self to another level of self. So it really does seem like, I'm feeling it pretty strong, like something's trying to play with your time, play on your mind, and hold you up. You know what I'm saying? And it may speak softly to you and completely BS you and try to lull you into a position of, even when you're feeling like, I don't know, that doesn't sound right. Well, if it don't sound right, it ain't right. Spirit's confirming that's correct. All right, so get into your inner capability. And excuse me, but I actually have some things to take care of today. You know what I'm saying? I really don't have time to have this conversation, but, peace be upon you and happy 2020 and whatever. And, just move away from whoever might manifest in a position where it seems like there's just this odd feeling that this person's trying to put me in a holding position for some reason. It could be someone that tries to pull you into a conversation on the side, like you're walking, heading to go somewhere, and they sideline you, or someone gets on the phone with you, and you're like, well, maybe I can give this person 20 minutes, but you need that 20 minutes because maybe you have like a release time where you're supposed to be finishing with certain work and deliver it. You understand what I'm saying? Be really careful who is inserted into that position, because there are plenty of puppets. There are plenty of puppets that ended up in the remedial class. There are plenty of puppets that can be overtaken and don't even know why they're doing what they're doing, or why they suddenly got the urge to pick up the phone and just have nothing really of worth to say, or just drain your energy or your focus. All right, y'all? You need a lot of headspace this month. So in terms of relationships, you make sure the relationships that you are dealing with afford you that headspace. And I would say, and Spirit's saying this is excellent, like get out there and try different things, whether it's a yoga class or, I don't know, a sculpture class, a pottery class, something to get into with the local community college, just something. You know what I'm saying? Like, these may not necessarily go towards college credits. You don't even have to be in college to sign up for these things. But it's just a new experience with new people where you're actually cultivating yourself and gaining new skills. And I think it's really going to give you something on a heart level, like just the newness of it. So really focus on reaching for that. All right? Finances. I'm getting, Spirit is straight up saying a lot of y'all are going to be taken care of. Just a moment. It's like Spirit is hip to what's going on. So if you're worried about like how things are, going to play out with finances, Spirit is saying Spirit has a way of making sure you're covered. You know what I'm saying? Let's see if there's anything else coming up. And some of you, like, if you really get into that sacred dreamer wave, well, a lot of you, Spirit is correcting me, like, there's actually some interference of trying to stop me from seeing it. Ooh, they're trying to work on y'all. Y'all can be coming up with some seriously genius insights right now. Like, genius, ideas, genius projects, like, really, don't let anything get in the way of your genius. All right. Okay, so we're going to move on to Aquarius. All right, Aquarius. Dealing with a lot of stops and start energy at the outset as I'm tuning into y'all. Something trying to get you from flowing and trying to get you to, and you're not, a lot of you are not having it. You're not even trying to look back. Y'all are under the quantum representative astral construct sign of the zodiac. but it's still like something trying to like pull you back as you're moving forward. So let's see what the advice of energetic passageways is so that you don't have to deal with this too deep. I am worthy of respect. Boundaries. Excellent. Okay. I'm going to actually pull another card because I'm getting that vibe. Star Crown. Oh, I'm getting the vibe. Pull one more. All right. Power Spark. Okay, so this is on a lower self level. Any situations that are being straight up disrespectful to your sense of boundaries or your rights or what have you, people who try to demean you, who literally like get in your path to try to like just say things that bring you down. Just a moment. I'm getting a vibe, like, just meet it, you know, like, get into your whole Aquarian mode and, you know, like, your higher frequency mode, and do not engage and be like, you feeling all right today, bro? You feeling all right today, sis? You know what I'm saying? Like, what's bringing this on? Have them look at themselves and be like, you good? Like, is that, like, kind of all you want to talk about? Because I had some other things I was going to focus on. You know what I'm saying? Keep it moving. Like, seriously, like, clown them, like, politely clown them. Okay, maybe that's not the right... Yeah, Spirit said keep it high frequency. But you can direct their attention to where they are being low vibrational by adopting a high vibrational posture. Let's listen to what Spirit said. You ain't got to clown nobody. 8D. As above, so below. This is self-mastery. Boundaries is the subtext. So being in alignment with your boundaries on a mundane level. Stay focused on your vocations. That's like straight, exactly how Spirit just said it to me. What are your interests? What's going to take you forward? Make it an area of study. Because these are some of the steps to higher timelines that some of y'all really need to think about. Because these will carry you into higher levels of positioning. It can be a trade. It can be... What could you do for the rest of your life that would make you feel blissful? And if you aren't already totally aware of this... I added that part, if you aren't already totally aware of this. Take some time in meditation, Spirit is saying, and find the path there. Or ask your higher guardians to help to make a path for you. Because they can clear paths in the astral. And bring in opportunities. All right, y'all. Star Crown card is what is coming up at the crossroads level. Okay, so this is do not engage. Star Crown, higher self is the subtext, and 10D is image. It's image ordained. Willow is also, you can meditate with the astral spirit of Willow, because the astral precedes the physical. Yes, definitely. My apologies earlier for my jokingness. It really is advisable, especially for me to start out the video of do not engage. I just, some part of me was low-key triggered by the energy that I felt is going to be coming at some of y'all. And look, you know, we're all on this experience doing our best, and that would have been errant advice. You don't have to get into a... Let me show you by not showing you subtext of not engaging. Let the whole thing just be pure. And just, you know, you all right today is fine, and it doesn't have to be sarcastic. So I apologize, because that would have been the wrong way to handle it. Even, you know, it may not create it may not, okay, so Spirit is confirming it may not have created situations, but you wouldn't feel good about it, like, in the aftermath. Because obviously, anyone's going to come and try to demean you is suffering themselves, and they're trying to project that onto to something else. They're suffering with self-image issues, and they're trying to project that onto someone else. So your best bet is, like, do not engage. Go into your star crown energies of higher self. Actually get into compassion, obviously, without falling into the lower manifestation of empath type woes and errors, but you can have a detached compassion, and you can hope people do better and redirect your attention to something else. That would be the highest way to approach this. All right, y'all. At the crossroads level, really be at your highest frequency at the crossroads level. All right, and you'll be able to. You're going to be able to see paths. Some of the Spirit is saying some of them might seem far out, like they may seem far away, but they're closer than you think, Spirit said. Huh. All right, so, and the amethyst is associated with this. And Spirit is saying if you work with amethyst, make it an early morning thing, to get yourself calibrated. But then work with citrine, like, for the rest of the day, I guess, to keep your energy going, because really it's about being focused on your tasks. And finally, what the position that would be of more of a higher self variation in terms of this particular layout that I just did. Power spark with motivation as a subtext. Take these triggers that attempt to come at you this month, and it could be stretching out into 3 weeks of the month, and turn it into motivation, like to change your positioning, to get out of environments where you don't belong. A lot of Aquarians are put into environments they don't belong in. You understand what I'm saying? And you don't have to be stuck there. You know, you don't have to be odd man out. You're the genius. You know what I'm saying? Typically, if you're in a higher frequency wave, no one's saying you have to be like this perfect Aquarian frequency. I mean, like, you know, it would kind of be pointless in a mundane type of situation. But as much as you possibly can be, like, keeping your focus upwards, like, that's what's going to serve you here. Use this as motivation to change your condition and get moving on it with action. All right, y'all, I had to change the battery. No surprise there. So, or put the other phone with the voice, because I have to record between two phones now just because of battery things. So I'm on the other phone. And we are now continuing with the water focus. The water focus that comes up, y'all, is you're allowed to cry, and hope is humble as the subtext. It's a 2D. So there is still, I mean, it's eclipse season. It's really, you know, it's not surprising. Water lily is the flower that is associated with the energetic pathway of this card. So working, you know, if you want to DIY a water lily essence, or you want to meditate on the water lily, I mean, low key, that's, you know, it's the lotus. If you want to, because the lotus journey is, and it really is what's, you know, it's on the cover of the Quantum Root Oracle, and it's like part of the focus of this oracle. The whole point is, you know, the lotus comes through the mud and the muck into this brilliant bloom, and it's a very, you know, at the top of the waters, it's like a very apt and beautiful symbolism for what the journey is, from moving from lower levels of the astral to the, you know, the higher levels of the astral, the paradise levels of the astral, the true culmination of your hard work and sense of beingness. So what we have here with this release card, the way there are some relationships that really just had to go away, or go away in their current form. There is a feeling that could tempt you to feel abandoned and bereft, and, you know, there are some of those traces of that, you know.
Spirit is saying it's not as strong as it used to be, but allow yourself to release, do release work, do peaceful releasing. Understand that something's going away from you at this time. It's just time for it. Or if you have no choice but to release something at this time, it's just time for it. And it's okay to be gentle with yourself. This is 2D. This is a very sensitive aspect of yourself. This is where we want to have connection, where we yearn to have connection. It's very normal and a human experience, and not just a human experience, but in a human experience, it's very normal to seek connection and crave connection. You know what I'm saying? Healthy connection at that. But when there are trauma bonds that were formed through just this need to have your need answered, and kind of getting into a connection with someone or something that low key is either masking what it's about or was there for a time to help you through, a certain traumatized aspect of yourself that was working on trauma manifestations, as it were. Some relationships are for a season. This can apply to jobs and all kinds of things. And it can hurt. It can hurt at a heart level. But you can transmute that heartache with your perspective. You can give thanks for the good. One of the best ways to deal with this energy without getting too caught up in it, even if you find yourself kind of going into a misty, tearful place or a sad place from time to time, you can remember the good memories and say, I'm really thankful I was able to experience that with so-and-so. Or I'm really thankful I was able to work on that job, even though the company had to go out of business. And I really thought I was going to be there for a long time. And now I feel like I got to maybe not start from scratch, but start something new. I really enjoyed that. You know what I'm saying? But, if the door has closed, or I had to close the door, then it means that it's an absolute sign. Spirit saying that's correct, that there's something else for me, that there's something better. You understand what I'm saying? And again, it's come up in past readings, and Spirit's confirming. I do feel it applies. Some people dealing with soul family situations where you really had to not be connected to certain soul family members because of the roads they chose or because of the roads you chose. This is not saying that you're never going to reconnect with them again or you're never going to know them again. It just means the capacity that they were in for you, and the positioning and the level of connectivity and why and how it was playing out, that's over with. So accept that. And know that, if you let something go and it returns to you, whether if it's that season or 3 seasons from now, you know what I'm saying, then it's yours, right? There's that saying. And if it's not, you know what I'm saying, that's peace, and there is something that's yours. And, focus on connectivity with that. When you can get to that point, if you're having a really hard time with the release process, focus on that. Wow, this is opening up my roads, though, for, happiness. If this is bringing me, has brought me and is bringing me so much pain and sadness, that means the odds are the other manifestations, you know what I'm saying, that I can access will bring me the opposite on the binary, of the duality binary, which would be bliss. You know what I'm saying? And a place where I can be my authentic self. Really think about that, because it is true. Okay? I'm going to go ahead and pull a card for each of the signs. Just a moment. Starting with the sign of the scarab with that sacred mother energy. Clear sky, ladies and gents. Because y'all male scarabs are, you know what I'm saying, divine nurturers, sacred nurturers. Let me go ahead. I'm going to pull one more. Stay in. Here's your answer to any woes, folks. Clear sky, clarity, joyous expression, presence. These are the 2 cards that came up. Clear sky, limitless. Get into that air element wave. Get into your bird roads. You start to feel like something's pulling you into a sadness cycle. Get into your bird roads. What's good right now? And go there with your thoughts. Remember the underlying theme this month: think, feel, embody, frequency, and vibration. How are you going to redirect this vibration? If you really need to have your cry, or you really need to have a peaceful release session or a sea salt bath, or however you want to work with it, that's cool. But then how are you going to redirect your attention? Because don't forget, you're creating. You create with your thoughts. You understand what I'm saying? So getting into a space of clarity is in this case for y'all is realizing there is something else for you. That you're actually, Spirit's confirming that's correct, you're actually being liberated. You're being rescued. Give thanks for the eclipse. You're being rescued. You understand what I'm saying? From situations that were just using, and the way the energy feels, were hard body using you. Like really juicing you intensely, like hard, roughly, for energy. So these weren't even nice situations. What was going on in the astral is disgusting. And, I just have to be frank about that. What was going on an astral level with a lot of you, from what I'm picking up, was disgusting. It looks like a feeding frenzy. You do not need to be dealing with folks that are at that level of hunger and have abandoned their integrity and will hurt someone who actually extends love and nurturing, and you know what I'm saying? Like, just because they're that far out of their sovereign mind. Some of these folks are just like dealing on less than an animal mode, because even animals have sense. Even animals have the good sense not to, you know what I'm saying? Not to come at their loved ones or members of their herd or whatever, or their pack, or, you understand what I'm saying? So if whatever levels of emotional savagery, for those of you that this resonates with, because it's some of y'all, because I'm picking up on it, you're being rescued. Spirit is confirming that's correct. You're being rescued, and it's happening, is what Spirit is saying. It's time to release it. Like a lot of y'all, you can't even hold on to it anymore. Well, Spirit's saying all of y'all can't even hold on to it anymore. It's going away. And it's for your survival. A lot of you for your mental survival. Okay, so Spirit is saying, because it was interrupting some of these connections were interrupting your autonomic processes. Sorry, your autonomic processes. Your ability to think clearly. Your ability to know who you are and what you want. A lot of you are at such a level of damage. If you'd stayed in those situations, you just would have been consumed, and it would have went in the very worst direction. And Spirit saying that's correct. Yo, what I just saw in the astral, horrendous. Give thanks in these releasing. Peacefully release. You want to go into a higher frequency with it. If you want to go into a higher frequency with it, it's totally okay for you to own your emotions and how you really, really feel as you're releasing. But if you feel inclined to go in the high frequency wave of it and wish those people well and hope that they find their way, great. Because no one needs to be in that much of a state of hunger that they abandon integrity. You know what I'm saying? Because this is bad. Like, this was not good, y'all. It's not good. So clear sky, getting into the limitless consciousness for y'all. Be tender with yourselves. Spirit is saying go around people who are like improving themselves. So maybe some self-improvement swerves, or like what came up for Libra, if you did listen to that reading, like maybe you could take some classes, get into a spirit of adventure. Basically, what Spirit is saying is get out there and see that life goes on without those attachments, whatever they were, whether it was one, whether it was a number of them. Like, life goes on and you can keep moving, and it seems like that's the main imperative for y'all. And is there anything else with that? That's the main point Spirit would like you to know you need to get through, is like, this is not the end. So it must be that for some of y'all, these situations are really, really hard emotionally. But this is not the end of your journey. Okay, so Spirit's confirming that's what Spirit's getting at. This is not the end of your journey. Life literally goes on. And so to these tender aspects, these inner child aspects, like, you can now move on to a higher level of the journey. And I would advise working with bird totems, whichever you're attracted to, so you can get more into that level of the bird roads where you can see the larger issue, see the, not issue, but see the larger picture. That's what I meant to say. And you have joyous expression with presence as a subtext. And Spirit is just very simply saying, have some fun. It's going to bring you back into heart alignment. And you're going to want to have more fun. And pretty soon, it's unlikely that it's going to be overnight, scarabs, aka Cancers. You're going to start to forget. You're going to start to forget about the attachments that had to go away. Or that you had to release. And you're going to remember that you have a life to live. And it's going to be a tender month. It's like the month is going to be tender with you is what Spirit is giving me. But follow the advice is really what Spirit is saying. This is, okay, like follow the advice so you can be like in the waves so that you can receive that tender handling. You understand what I'm saying? It does have a lot to do with frequency and vibration and placement and that kind of thing. So, all right, so we got to move on just to keep time in a certain position. That's uploadable to YouTube. Moving on to Scorpios. Love is waiting for you. Let it in. Okay, so just the one card Spirit is saying. All right, so this, okay, well, I'm getting like for the those of you that this is really talking about at the outset with the how these energies are jumping out, like these are, you're dealing with things that it seems like you knew they had, you've known they'd had to go for a long time. Just a moment. And it just seems like you're healing from the trauma of the experience, but like I'm being given a visual of you in a boat in the astral. So it's like, and Spirit's confirming it's correct. So it's like you're above the waters. It's not like you got lost in the waters, so to speak, like the lower levels or anything. It's just a matter of kind of crying out and getting past, the pain of it, the pain of these situations that you've gone through. You do have a certain level of vitality. Guard against being pulled into arguments that will take you off of your focus, because you are starting to pull on your inner grit. Not pull on your inner grit. Is that the word I'm trying to use? Spirit gave me, raise that inner grit. It's starting to come to fore where you're like, okay, I know what I need to do. Where you're pulling yourself up by the emotional bootstraps, so to speak, and you're like, I know what I need to do moving forward, and you're re-engaging with that focus, that scorpionic focus, which is just so hard. You know what I'm saying? It's just, to some extent, to unjust opposition, it's like indomitable. Y'all decide